Mikhail Janicki was cycling to a local swimming pool with his 12-year-old son in southern Stockholm when they were confronted by a gang of 3 to 4 youths in an underpass who shouted threats at them. Trying to be an example to teach his son to stand up to thugs, Mikhail made a decision that would swiftly end his life. Instead of ignoring them and riding on, he turned round. He asked his son to retreat to a safe distance, before making some kind of comment about the vulgar behaviour of the gang that offended them. Having reportedly confronted them before about dealing drugs because he didn't want his son growing up in such an environment, the gang then shot at Mikhail, and perhaps attempting to fight for his life, Mikhail tried to grab the gun before being shot in the head in broad daylight. But he was like that, said Mikhail's sister, didn't like injustice, it cost him his life. Janicki's efforts to teach his son bravery ended up with him becoming yet another statistic of Sweden's soaring gun crime epidemic. It's an incident that would once have been virtually unheard of in the Scandinavian country, and although now all too commonplace, Janicki's murder has sent shockwaves through the nation. The reaction to this one feels a little bit different. Anger and street protests are starting to build. And the population at large is becoming increasingly sick and tired of their country in the last 20 years alone. Go from being one of, if not the safest country in Europe, to one of the most dangerous. Sweden is now the bombing capital of Europe, second only to Mexico as the top country in the world that's not currently at war to have the most bombings on its territory. The very area where this took place just experienced 2 other shootings last month alone, one near a preschool, with locals terrified of leaving their houses and children kept indoors. When the former Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson visited the scene of the murder, Mikhail's sister showed her absolutely no respect whatsoever.
Hade jag vetat att du var syster hade jag naturligtvis kommit fram till dig. Jag förstår att du är arg. Och besviken.
Kan du förklara vad ni gör här? Nej, alltså på riktigt, vad ni gör här.
Nej,
på riktigt.
Var de närmaste.
Vi var även på din debatt när Adrianas mamma frågade vad ni ska göra åt våldet. Och vad hände efter debatten när kamerorna dog? Du kom inte fram till henne. Du beklagade ingenting, du visade inga känslor. Och när var det här? 1 år sedan? Vi ställde frågan och nu är min bror död. Men kamerorna är viktigare, så jag ska lämna er i fred. Varsågod.
Det vore bra om ni kanske kunde...
All the blood is on their hands, said Mikhail's sister, blaming politicians who turn up for the cameras then go home and do nothing. She said her brother just wanted to set a good example for his son. Authorities are keeping a tight lid on the possible identity of the culprits, and the killer or killers remain at large. But Jimmy Åkesson, leader of the Sweden Democrats, called for a full-scale war to be declared on the criminal gangs that have ruined Sweden. International conventions, musty old arguments about socio-economic factors or stupid talk about crime prevention centres should go in the trash immediately, said Åkesson. It's not enough to regurgitate platitudes, it's time for Sweden to declare full war against every single individual in these criminal gangs. It's a question I've heard so many times before. Paul, you're nearly pushing middle age. Alright, rude. How come you look 10 years younger than you are? Only 10? Well, it's not rocket science. It's called regularly moisturising your face and having a good skincare routine. That's why I'm excited to have Tiege Hanley as the sponsor of today's video. They help men start and maintain a skincare routine by simplifying the entire process. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of all the dirt and grime on your skin. A 2 times a week exfoliating scrub to get rid of all the dead skin cells. An AM moisturiser with SPF 20, because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturiser to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Their products have made my skin look and feel healthier than ever. But you don't have to just take my word for it. They've got over 7,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers around the world. And because Tiege is sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the link in the description to get 30% off your first skincare system and a free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll also get 20% off for life. By the way, both gifts you're choosing from are $20 value and are complete game changers. A silicone body scrubber or a nail and face grooming kit. They've pouched it up all nice as well. Personally, I prefer the silicone body scrubber because it just feels so soft and silky on the skin. Ooh, not gonna lie, that does feel nice. So don't wait any longer. Click the link in the description box down below to start your skincare journey today. Sweden's decision to open its borders to mass migration is now internationally recognised as a catastrophic disaster.
No, we are leaving, but you don't need to hurt us. There's no need to be unkind.
You can't film. Don't do it.
To the point where archetypal liberals like Bill Maher are drawing attention to it.
Sweden opened its borders to over 1.5 million immigrants since 2010, and now 20% of its citizens are foreign-born, and its education system is tanking, and it has Europe's highest rate of gangland killings. And one result is that the far-right parties are in the government now there for the first time.
Yeah, because of all the negative consequences that Sweden has suffered as a result of mass migration, the worst out of all has got to be right-wing populist parties getting more votes. Despite Maher's primary gripe with the outcome being somewhat misplaced, he did acknowledge a salient truth.
To which liberals say blaming immigrants for the rising crime rate is racist. Yeah, but is it true? Of course it's true. It's not a coincidence the quality of life went down after the Somali gangs started a drug turf war using hand grenades.
But then doubled down again on his initial idiocy.
Calling it racist doesn't solve the problem. It hands future elections to someone who will solve the problem and who, I promise, you're not going to like.
Yeah, Bill, I'm sure voting for more left-wing parties and asking them nicely to cut down a little bit on immigration is going to solve the problem. But if you think Maher's narrative on Sweden is tone-deaf, it was positively insightful compared to Fraser Nelson's. Editor of The Spectator magazine and a prime example of how the conservative establishment's sacred cow of civic nationalism and the risible belief that you can accept infinity Bomalians if you just take time to integrate them all properly is one of the most dangerous delusions of the modern era. These gangsters were born in Sweden. This is a longer-term assimilation issue and is unlike anything being seen anywhere else in Europe. Right, Fraser, because I'm sure if the Bomalian drug lord gangs had just been exposed to a little bit more ABBA from a younger age, 90% of shooters in Sweden wouldn't end up being from a foreign background.
Knowing me, knowing you, there is nothing we can do.
Nelson appears to be incapable of looking out of the window, where in England, as migration rose, violent crime followed the same trend as Sweden. But beyond just the crime, as if that weren't bad enough, many are noticing a more creeping, visceral third worldification. Ceaseless jabbering smartphone pollution. Culturally enriching journeys on public transport. Then there's the sheer trash. I mean, the UK's by no means never been the cleanest European country, but in the last 10 years it's become visibly far worse. It's literally everywhere.
But this goes on all the way down to the other end. Look. This place is filthy. This is worse than Page Hall in Sheffield. Look at it. Everyone just throws their rubbish on the floor.
I think it's going to take a bit more than better assimilation to clean up this mess. If you value what I do and you want to help support me, please visit pauljosephwatson.locals.com and either pledge a one-time donation or subscribe to join my community, get early access videos, and message me directly. And exclusive live streams coming soon too. Promise. Check out the Locals link down in the description. And don't forget to take a look at the brand new website modernity.news. That's where you'll find all my content, including exclusive articles. That's modernity.news.